Hello everyone and welcome to this very first episode of the Wool Revolution podcast. I guess that's what I'm gonna call it. My name is Helena and I'm a Swedish knitter living in Stockholm, Sweden, and I go by the name Wool Revolution on Ravelry and Instagram. And yeah, like I said, this is my first episode of what I'm hoping is going to be a long tail of podcast episodes. I have no plan for this. I just sat down here on the floor in my apartment and just pushed record. So I'm taking it as it comes. I have a few things I want to show you, and yeah, that's it basically. A little bit about me. I have been thinking about doing this kind of knitting podcast for a while now, a few years actually, but I just haven't gotten around to it. And so yeah, we'll see if I even upload this episode. I'm gonna have to watch it and judge if it's good enough, I guess. But I think it's a very fun way to show what I'm doing, what I'm knitting on, and talk and reflect a little bit about everything knitting related, because there's not really space for that on Instagram, for example. I feel like that's a lot more fast-paced. So what I really appreciate about these knitting podcasts, and there are a lot of them now, which is amazing, is that it's a slower format and it's easier to just talk and have a chat about knitting. So that's what I'm hoping this is going to be. Trying to think if I'm gonna talk a little bit about myself. I don't know, that's not really relevant to the content in this podcast, but I'm 28 years old. I live just outside of Stockholm in an apartment with my boyfriend, and I've been knitting on and off, I'd say, for maybe 8 years or so, maybe a little bit more, 10 years maybe. But yeah, on and off. So I've had long periods of time when I haven't been knitting at all. So for example, I've been living abroad and studying abroad, and during those times I have just not been knitting. Yeah. And I'm also very, like in the summertime I don't really knit, and which I think is standard for a lot of people who have like really warm summers and cold winters like we do here in Sweden. It's easier to be knitting in the winter. And now it's August when I'm recording, and I am feeling the fall inspiration really kicking in, as it always does around this time. But I haven't been knitting much this summer, to be honest. I have one sweater that I've been knitting on, and I'm going to show you that. But now I realize I didn't bring it here. One sec. So the standard format of the knitting podcast that I've been watching is usually first showing off the finished objects, so everything that I have that I'm done with, and then showing off the works in progress, so everything that I'm working on right now. And then usually acquisitions, so everything knitting related that has been bought recently. And I guess I'm gonna follow that format, just to have something to hold on to, but we'll see if I break loose from that eventually in the future, if there is a future for this podcast. I don't know. And I might as well say also that I thought about whether to record in Swedish or in English, and obviously I decided to go with English, but that might change in the future. It depends on how comfortable I feel like I am with English. Obviously it's not my first language, so I guess it's easier to express myself in Swedish. So we'll see if I feel restricted or not. I don't know, right now I have 0 subscribers because I haven't even created my YouTube account yet, so obviously I don't even know who I'm talking to, so I guess it doesn't really matter at this point, but we'll see what happens. So I'll start with what I'm wearing, and this is actually my only summer knit, I think. So, like I said, I'm not a summer knitter. I usually don't knit at all during the summer, and I've never really liked, knitting in cotton, for example, which is, I guess, like a summer material. I knit in wool. That's what I do. So, but yeah, this one I knit a few years ago, and it's I didn't follow a pattern really, so let's see if I remember what I did now. It's been, like I said, a few years ago. So first of all, the yarn, it's Sandnes garn, the Norwegian brand Sandnes, and the yarn is line, I think. Yeah, it's line. I think it's Sandnes garn, line. I don't remember the colors, but maybe I put it on my Ravelry, I'm not sure. You can always go there and check out. I usually upload almost everything that I knit on my Ravelry page, and I try to write thoroughly what I'm doing. So you can check out there if you have any questions. So like I said, I didn't follow a pattern, but I followed one instruction of the contiguous method. Is that what it's called? Contiguous method? It's a way of knitting the shoulder. So let's see if I can. Here you can see, I guess. You start by. Well, it's basically like down here. You basically do like raglan increases as such. It's almost like a diamond shape here. But in the beginning you increase quite rapidly to get this sort of straight line, and then out like this. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it very well, but there's an explanation on how to do this on Ravelry, so I think you can find it if you just search for the contiguous method, which is really nice. I think it's free as well, so just go on there and read. And I think I just winged it with this one. I probably cast on a few times just to see, and knit a little bit just to see that it felt like a good size, and then I just went for it, and luckily it worked out really well. And I don't know if it's because this is the only time I've used this method, so I don't know if you can see it's almost a little bit of a puff shoulder, which I adore. It's really cute. I'm not sure why that happened. Maybe because of how I increased. I don't know. I guess I have to try to use this method again and see if the same thing happens. I suppose it has to do with how I increase, like how often and in what interval, I suppose. I didn't do any like short rows or neck shaping, so usually you do something to get the back to be a bit higher up than the front, just because that's how the body looks. I'm not sure if I even knew about that when I knitted this, to be honest, or I just didn't have the I just couldn't figure out how to shape it, I guess. I can't remember, but the point is it's the same front and back. But I don't mind, to be honest, because I mean the neck is a bit wide like this. It's almost like a boat neck, I think it's called, when it's sort of wide, a wide neck like this. And I don't know, I think it's cute. I can't be bothered with it. Usually it can be annoying when it just creeps up like this, the sweater. But I think it's fine, and actually kind of pretty to have it a bit high in the front. And as you can see, it's a t-shirt, and that's also something I remember because, like I said, summer knits hasn't really been for me, and I don't really knit like tank tops because I don't really use tank tops. Even in the summer, I'm much more likely to wear a t-shirt. So, and I feel like there aren't that many like summer t-shirts. At least, well, now there is, but then I didn't really feel like that, and especially compared to like tank tops, which there are a lot of. So I think like when I separated for the sleeves here, I didn't, yeah, you can almost see it, I didn't really continue knitting. I just like knit up this cuff here, or whatever you call it, straight away. So it was fairly easy. And let me see, like I said, I'm sitting on the floor, so I don't know if it's fairly short. This is how it looks down here, like almost a crop t-shirt. Very, very basic, but I'm super happy with it. Yeah. Okay, let's get into some knitting. I yesterday evening I finished a sweater that has been long overdue. I bought this pattern several years ago, but it took a while for me to cast on, just because I couldn't choose colors. And then when I finally decided, I had to like re-knit it maybe 3 times. Not the whole thing, but I came pretty far, and then I had to re-knit, because obviously I didn't swatch. And sometimes, like with this one, I could wing it, this t-shirt, but most of the time I'm not as lucky, so I have to re-knit a few times. I don't know how it is with you, but I tend to wing it a lot. So yeah, this is the sweater. Maybe I should have started with showing you the sweater and then talk about it. So here we go. So the pattern is Vinterfield. It's a pattern by Skein Knits, one of her early patterns, so it's an old one. And the reason I had to re-knit it so many times is because of sizing. I think every time it was because of the size. I had a hard time choosing size because I didn't swatch, and I didn't measure myself or anything. I just because her sizing I think is like size 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and continues up. So I just picked a number and went for it. And the final, the size on this one, I think still unfortunately is a little bit too big. I mean, I like it big and loose fitting, but I think this was a bit too much. But I don't know, I haven't really tried it on properly, like with an outfit. Maybe it looks good with a pair of jeans or something, I don't know. And yeah, and one thing I struggled with, which is the thing I was working on last night, because I was actually finished with this like maybe a few months ago, but the neckline, I had big problems with the neckline, because this is a top-down construction. So you start with the neckline, and it's a 2x2 ribbing, and I decided immediately that I wanted to do a folded neckline. So my plan was to like knit this piece a bit longer, maybe like this long maybe, and then fold it over like so, which is something I do on a lot of sweaters. I have done on, not a lot of sweaters, but a few sweaters I've done that, and I think that looks really nice. So I just I knitted the neckline just a bit longer, like twice as long as I wanted it to be, and then I just continued on, knit the whole sweater, and then in the end I folded it down, and it just got so weird. I don't know what happened, but it almost like flared out, and I don't know what that's like, the reason for that. I guess maybe just because the neckline was too wide, maybe like too not wide, but like, I feel like I say but like all the time. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know, I mean wide like this, maybe that's the reason. I don't know, it flared out really weird, and I thought maybe I could put an elastic band inside of it just to get it a bit more snug, but then I thought instead I could just cut it and pick up the stitches like here, just underneath, and then re-knit it, but upside down this time. And I thought that would be okay. I mean, if it would have been regular stitches, I guess you could see that it's knit upside down. So like if it was just stockinette, then it would be pretty obvious if I started knitting upside down. But since it was a 2x2 ribbing, I just figured it won't show, and it doesn't really show, to be honest. So it worked out well, but I did some, I don't know, because I did you do short row shapings, so when I cut it, I didn't really know where I was in the short row shaping, so it's probably the case that it's probably a bit tilted almost, because I don't know where I started or finished the short row shaping. So I just like picked a corner and just knitted the ribbing. It's really hard to explain, I realize. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, it worked out well, I think. Yeah, I'm recording on my phone, so I don't really have that like advanced zooming feature, so I hope you can see some details at least. And the color combination, I'm super happy about it. My first idea was to use some greens, like different shades of green, or even to have a bright background color. So maybe instead of this blackish, dark gray black, I thought about I had this like almond, no, the color is called almond, but it's not really almond. It's like a beige, almost like creamy white beige, and have that as a background color. Yeah, I had a few different options, but I'm really glad I went with this. So yeah, the yarn I used is Holst Super Soft. which I think is one of the recommended yarns for this pattern. I know that Ellie from the Skein Knits has used Holst a lot, and it's a really nice yarn. I think this is the first time I knit a whole sweater with it, and it's really light weight and soft, and 100% wool. So there's that. That's all about this sweater. Finally, like 4 or 5, no, maybe like 4 years in the making. Great, Helena. Yeah. So next up, I feel like I need to sit on something. Very, very ergonomical position down here. Next up, let's talk about what I have been knitting on this summer. And that is a sweater. Let's see how to show this. Here we go. Ah. Oh, can you see the colors? It's like a bright pink and a bright orange. I call this like my Lollipop sweater, but it's just because it makes me think of Lollipop, I guess. Very happy sweater. And I started this in the spring, and I hoped it could be like a spring sweater because it feels like a springtime sweater. But it's August and it's not finished. So I guess it will be my fall sweater. Not really fall colors though. It's knit in Rauma Finull. I got this yarn as a birthday present, and yeah, I just felt like doing something crazy with it. And maybe some of you recognize this pattern. It's very similar to the what's it called? My Favorite Things Knitwear and sweater number 12 from My Favorite Things Knitwear, but I haven't followed the pattern. I just got inspired by this like broken rib stitch, I think it's called. So you basically do like 1 row of knit stitches and then 1 row of knit 1, purl 1, and then you continue on with that. And the reason why I didn't follow the pattern is because when I looked at it, at the sweater, it didn't look like there were any short row shapings. So, and also I enjoy like figuring things out for myself. So I usually get inspiration from other sweaters. Could be like knitting designs or knit designs, or like commercial, sweaters in store. And then I try to knit them up myself. So that's what I did here. I sort of did just a basic raglan and short row. Did I do short row shaping? Oh, maybe I didn't do short row shaping. I just like knitted back and forth in the beginning, like in almost like semicircles, just to make the back higher than the front. And then I joined in the round somewhere after a few rounds. And because it's a striped sweater, there is the problem of where to change the color. Ideally, I would have wanted to change maybe, I don't know, what would be ideal to change colors? Maybe like here underneath the armhole, But I don't know, up here I'm not sure, because like you're gonna see it even if you try to do these like jogless stripes where you try to have a smooth transition between the colors. Even so, you're gonna see the jog, and I had a really hard time with the stripes and the shaping of the neck and staying in the pattern. I just couldn't wrap my head around, because no matter what I did, it just, something went wrong, like something had to give. But in the end I solved it, and the jog had to end up here in the back. Let's see. Can you see it here? Yeah, you can see it. But it's not like, it's not a dramatic, it doesn't show really that much. So I'm pretty pleased with it. And as you can see, I have knitted all of the body, and I'm on to the sleeves. And the fit is quite, it's not super narrow, but still it's quite fitted, which is how I wanted it. Like, I didn't want this to be a bulky, loose sweater. So quite fitted. And the same will go for the sleeves. So I've decreased twice now, and I'm gonna have to try it on and see how I want it, like how it fits now, and how often I have to decrease for the rest of the sleeve. And then of course the neckline, which might be a folded neckline, I guess. I mean, I really like that. So I'm pleased with this. We'll see, maybe it will be finished next spring, and it will be my 2023 spring sweater. I'm mostly excited about this because, like I said, I got the yarn as a Christmas gift. So it's nice to actually make something of it, and to show it to the person who gave me the yarn, which happens to be my boyfriend. So I think he's excited to see this coming along. Yeah. So the next thing I'm going to show you is a baby knit that I'm working on, because let's see, where is it? Because one of my old friends is having a baby, and this fall, and I wanted to make something for the baby shower, so I decided to start making a baby blanket, which is, from what I've heard, something that is appreciated by parents to newborns, just because it's very easy to take with you. I guess you don't really dress newborns, like there's no reason to dress them in a certain way, because they just lay down all the time. But I have a source, and she told me that baby blankets are much appreciated. So that's what I'm going for. And I'm actually doing this in crochet, which is not every day. I mostly knit, but sometimes I dabble into the crochet universe. And this is what I'm making. Granny squares. So I have made a few already, so I'm guessing like I'll just join them. Oh, shit. Join them like so into a blanket. I am loving how this is turning out. Loving, loving, loving. I couldn't decide if I wanted to do like maybe like a striped, simple striped crochet blanket, or if I wanted to use these colors as like a big color block blanket, so maybe one gray block here, one beige here, and a beige here, and the gray here, so like a check pattern. But I'm so glad I went with the granny squares. This is a classic. Like, you should never doubt the power of a good granny square. I would love to have my own blanket, granny square blanket one day, or any blanket really. But that feels like a big project. I'm not ready for that just yet. But a baby blanket is really quite possible to make. And the yarn I'm using is I guess you can call this leftover yarn, although I have one ball of each color, 100-gram balls, and I used this yarn for socks last Christmas. I'm sorry, I'm looking like this all the time because I have a really smart setup with my mirror, so I can see if I'm in frame or what I'm filming, so I'm sorry if I'm looking in that way all the time. These are Järbo Raggi is the name of the yarn, so it's a sock yarn, a thick sock yarn, like Aran weight sock yarn, so raggsockgarn, you can say, for really thick socks. And last Christmas I knitted socks for my partner's family. All of them got socks in these colors, but I had these balls left, so I thought this would be a good yarn for a baby blanket because it's a mix between superwash, wool and polyamide, I guess. So you can wash it, and it's wool, but it's quite soft. Like, it's not like even I think Rama Finhull, which I just showed, my striped sweater was in Rama Finhull. Even that wool is a bit more rough on the skin than this, because this is treated. And I mean, not that it's super important because it's a blanket, so you're still gonna have it on top of whatever clothes you have on. But I don't know. I still feel like I need to knit in softer yarns for babies. And a good thing is that you can wash this in the machine, which I guess is good if it's for a baby. So I'm really excited about this. I've started knitting these. Maybe this is not knitting, this is crochet. I've done 5 of these, I think now, or 6, and I'm trying to weave in the ends as I go, as you can see, just because I don't want to end up with 1,000 of these. Not 1,000, but even 20 of these. It'll be annoying to weave in the ends of all of them at the same time. So I'm trying to do that as I go. And then I guess I'm gonna have to connect them in some way. I have no idea how just yet. I have done like a granny square blanket before, but it was a long time ago, so I can't remember how. But yeah, I'm gonna use the beige color to connect them all. So no contrast color, just the beige. And the yarn, I really like it because Raggi is a classic sock yarn from Järbo, a Swedish brand. And but this one is really nice because it's like a tweedy color almost. You can see a little bit of specks here and there. So it's very vibrant, as opposed to if it was just a plain color. So that's a nice element to it. yes, nothing more to say about that. I'm using a 4.5 millimeter hook. I only have 2 crochet hooks, one big and one small. This is the big one. So it works out fine. I have 2 more things to show you, I guess, but these will be quicker, because I've barely started on them. But one, I want to talk about the ideas I have. So one is, I can show you what I've done so far. It's not much, it's just a little flap. So this is, let me see. No, I think this is the wrong side. This is the right side. So it's just a rib, like 3 knit, 2 purl rib, I think. And the yarn is Lollipop, Icelandic yarn. And I have an idea that I want to knit a sweater, and this is, you can see already, it looks like a sweater. No, but I want to knit a saddle shoulder construction. So this is like this part of the shoulder. And I've been googling a little bit, and I found a resource that's described very basically, like no, just like the basic construction. So I still have to figure out all the measurements and stuff on my own, but the construction, so you basically knit one shoulder flap and then the other shoulder flap, and then you pick up stitches for the back, yeah, and for the front separately, and then you like continue on the shoulder from this flap. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly. I'm taking it as it goes. But I want to have this ribbing on the sleeves, and then the rest will be in plain stockinette. And another thing I want to do is I want to have like an open down here, and then I will have a flap with 3 buttons, like so. So like a piqué, what's it called? Is it called piqué in Swedish at least? I don't know in English, but like a golf sweater. So it's open here. I hope you understand what I mean. Maybe I can insert a picture of my inspiration. Yeah, we shall see. I don't know. I just like, I mean, I knit this in really short amount of time just to see what it looks like, so I don't even know if this is what's gonna be the final shoulder piece. So yeah, we'll see. And the final project. No, I want to show you my project bag for this one, sorry. Because I can see like a lot of knitters are buying really fancy project bags with cool fabrics, and the patterns are really nice, and I know there are a lot of makers out there who make their own project bags and sell them. I'm way too cheap, I guess is the word, to buy those kind of things. Like, I want to spend my money on yarn mostly, and knitting supplies if I need them. I don't really buy things just because they look pretty. So, but I still need project bags because I don't want my projects just laying around the house, the apartment, and the yarn. Yeah, I want to collect all the yarn in something. So I remember a long time ago I read about how to remake like a tote bag into a knitting project bag, but I couldn't find exactly the instruction for it. But I just went for it on my own. So I'm gonna show you, like, I have a lot of these tote bags, like a really simple tote bag, usually with some kind of brand on it. I mean, I don't know why I have so many. I hope that there are more of you that just like end up with these. I mean, you get them sometimes, and yeah, I just have a lot of these, and I don't need that many. So I figured I could remake this into a project bag, and I did. And now this is my first prototype, so it's not very pretty. I just I was pretty eager to just like try it and see if I could see what I could do. So as you can see, I have cut off the shoulder bands. So I cut them off, and then I just folded like this to create this. I needed something here so I can put the thread, and I just like picked like a cotton yarn I had. Ideally, maybe I would have something a bit thicker, like a real band. I don't know, but I choose this cotton yarn, and then I can just look. So it was really easy. I didn't even use a sewing machine. Like, I did this. You can see I did this by hand, just in and out, in and out. And this is where I insert the cotton yarn. So highly recommend if you can't be bothered with like fancy project bags. And final project. And this is not really, it's not a project just yet, but I want it to be, and I have wanted it to be for 2 years now. So this is a yarn I have wound it up into a ball. It's an alpaca yarn, which I bought in Sweden, Grövelsjön. I was in Grövelsjön. It's up in the Swedish fjell, the Swedish mountains, and I was there skiing, and then I went by this alpaca farm and bought this yarn from the alpaca that was living there, which was pretty cool. I think that's the first time I buy something that's so local. And I did knit a swatch with the yarn. It's super soft, like it's really, really nice. Very, very soft. I think it's even a baby alpaca. Yeah, 100% baby alpaca. 100 grams, and it's 253 meters for 100 grams. So it's still, like, it's not super thin. The problem is I knit this swatch maybe a year ago, but I can't remember the needle size I used. So it's fairly useless, except like it's really soft. So I can just like comfort myself with it. No, but I'm going to knit something with it, and I want to knit some kind of like a polo neck thing. But because, yeah, I don't know if the yarn will be enough for what I ideally would like to do, but I guess I could just start with a rib, like start knitting a ribbing, so I have at least around the neck, something to have to wear around the neck. Gosh, I'm getting tired now. I think maybe it's time for me to stop recording, but I want you to help me with this. If there is anyone out there who's listening to this, I think I'll start by doing the ribbing, and then depending on how much yarn I have left, when I'm happy with neck piece like this, I'll decide on how to continue on. Maybe just like a little bit down here in the front and a little bit down in the back, so I can just like pull it on when I go skiing, for example. So let me know if you have any ideas. I don't feel like buying a pattern because, like I said, ideally I would probably want it to be a bit longer than what I have yarn for. So I don't feel like buying a pattern for this. I'm just gonna make it up as I go. But if you have like inspirational pictures, maybe some ideas on what I can do with not that much yarn, let me know in the comment section below. That's what all YouTubers say. Let me know in the comment section below, and please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Yeah, that's it for me, I think. As you can notice, I'm getting tired. But I enjoy this. I felt a little bit shaky, and words are not always that easy to come by in English, at least. So we'll see what happens in the future. Hopefully I'll upload this to YouTube. Hopefully I won't cringe when I look at it. Thank you for watching, if you have been watching, and maybe I'll see you next time. Goodbye!